Good morning, students. Today we will discuss Chapter 3 Nationalism in India. So, first of all, let's define the definition of nationalism. Let's define nationalism. So, students, nationalism is the feeling of oneness among the people living in a territory. So, nationalism is the feeling of oneness, togetherness. It is a patriotic feeling for one's country. It is a love for your own country. So, that is the feeling of nationalism. And we know you have seen in your earlier chapter from where this feeling emerged. This feeling emerged from the French Revolution of 1789. We have seen in our earlier chapter the rise of nationalism in Europe, where the concept of the nation state it emerged, and this feeling of nationalism it emerged and spread in to the other parts of the Europe through French Revolution of 1789. Now, students, we have to discuss the various implications or the effects of the First World War on India's freedom struggle. So, before that, we have to see when the First World War broke out, it was the period of 1914 to 1919 was the period of First World War, and you know it was fought between Allies and the Central Powers. In Allies, we were having France, England, Russia, and America, and in Central Powers, we were having Germany, Turkey, that is Ottoman Empire, Austria and Hungary, that is all monarchies were there in the Central Powers. And you know who was defeated in the First World War, that the Central Powers were defeated. And after that, you know what happened, the harsh Treaty of Versailles was imposed on the Germany. And then what happened under Germany, the Nazism, the rise of Hitler, that you have seen in your earlier chapters. So students, now we have to discuss the various implications and the effects of the First World War on India's freedom struggle. So the First World War, student, that is a period between 1914 to 1919. It had created a new economical and political situation all around the world. So the First World War created a new economic and political situation all around the world. So this, you know, students, that what happens in the wars, the economies got shattered, production got affected, trade also got adversely affected or hit due to long wars. So this we have seen on the economic front, that economies got shattered due to the long wars. And I have already told you in your grade 9th and in earlier chapters that what happened in Germany after the First World War. So you know the monarchy was abdicated. Weimar Republic it came after the First World War. Then Hitler rose to the power and finally he became dictator in 1933. And in Russia also, you know what was happening. The Tsar Nicholas II, he was abdicated and the provisional government was formed in February 1917. And the Bolsheviks after that established socialism in Russia in October 1917. So this is how the First World War created a new economic and political situation all around the world. So now here you know the India was the colony of Britain at that time when the First World War was going on, and the Britain was under huge war expenditure which it had financed from the war loans. Like we take a loan for car and home, similarly there is a war loan also. So as loan was increasing on Britain, the Britain started looking towards India for its interest payments. So what Britain did, they raised the custom tax and the income tax was introduced. So first point, what was the first effect or the implications of the First World War on India's freedom struggle? The British imposed war expenditure on India, and for this the income tax was introduced and custom duties were raised. So this was the first implications of the First World War on India's freedom struggle. So after this, now what happened, now the prices of the essential goods it rose, okay, during the war period, doubled. So essential commodities which people need to purchase every day, so their prices were increasing, okay. So this also who will be affected by this inflation or price rise? The common people. Then after this, the forced recruitment of the Indian villagers. So this this point. So now the forced recruitment of the Indian villagers into British army, it caused the widespread anger among the Indians. Now to fight war, Britain needs soldiers also. So British started forcefully recruiting the Indian villagers in the army to fight the First World War. So this caused the widespread anger among the Indians. So this was the main point due to which there was widespread anger among the Indians against the Britishers, because they were forcefully recruiting the Indian youth against their wishes. So we have seen forcefully they were imposing the taxes on us, prices were increasing, forcefully they were recruiting the people, and after this this is not sufficient. From all the sides the Indians were getting beatings from all the sides. So after this, what happened? The crops failed. So what happened? The crops failed, okay, in many parts of the India. So poor Indians, you have seen, they were getting beatings from all the sides. Crops also failed. So if crop will fail, what will happen? Harvest will be very less. So what will happen? There will be shortage of the food supplies, okay, food material will be less in supply. This is not sufficient, okay, this was not sufficient. At the same time, influenza epidemic broke out, okay, in many parts of the India. So this also spread, and many people, they lost this life. So students, all these factors put together were responsible to instigate the anti-British feeling among the Indians. So I have discussed all these points. So this is very important 3-mark question. They can ask you that state the implication, various implication or effects of the First World War on India's freedom struggle. So here you will tell that the Britishers, they were imposing the taxes, custom duties were raised, a new type of tax was introduced, that is the income tax, prices were increasing, inflation was there, and Britishers were not doing anything to protect the people. Forcefully they were recruiting the people against their wishes. Then after that, crops were also failing. Then after that, disease was widespread, disease was there, influenza epidemic. Then there was shortage of food, okay. So all this, famines, epidemics, so this created the you can say the widespread anger was there in the mind of the Indians against the Britishers. So till now, students, we have discussed the meaning of nationalism, from where this wave started. We have seen this wave started from the French Revolution of 1789, and then it spread to the other parts of the Europe, and then we Indians also, we took inspiration from these world events only. Then after that, I have told you about the effects of the First World War on the India's freedom struggle. And we have seen what were the conditions at that time. Means the Indians were getting beating from all the sides, taxes were being increased by the Britishers. Then after that, prices were also increasing, forced recruitments were going on by the Britishers. Then after that, crops were failed in many parts of the India, so there was a scarcity of the food grains. Then the epidemic was there, influenza epidemic broke out. So all these factors we have discussed earlier, they were responsible to instigate the anti-British feeling among the Indians. So students, people hoped that their hardships, their sufferings would end after the war was over. So people were thinking that okay, after the First World War will be over, everything will be fine. But that did not happen. And at this stage, a new leader appeared and suggested a new mode of struggle, that is Satyagraha. So here the idea of Satyagraha, we have to see Gandhiji came back to India from South Africa in 1915. So from South Africa he came back and he introduced a new powerful method of struggle called Satyagraha. So he emphasized on this. The idea of Satyagraha emphasized the power of truth and the need to search for truth. That is the sole motive of your birth, is to find truth. So Gandhiji strongly believed that if cause is true and if the struggle is against the injustice, then the physical force is not required or is not necessary to fight the oppressor. So this was the powerful ideology of the Gandhiji, that is Satyagraha. So students, this is very important topic, Satyagrah. So the 3-mark question they can ask you on the ideology of the Satyagrah. So Satyagrah literally means holding on to truth or truth force. So students, the idea of Satyagrah emphasize the power of truth and the need to search for truth. That is the sole motive of your birth is to find truth. And Gandhiji also, he believed in this, that he believed that if the cause is true, if the struggle is against the injustice, then physical force is not required to fight the oppressor. A satyagrahi could win the battle through non-violence. So it was non-violent struggle introduced by Gandhiji in the Indian national movement. So when he came to the Indian national movement scene in 1915, that he introduced this novel method of mass agitation, and it was a non-violent struggle which was introduced by Gandhiji. So further, students, Gandhiji added that in Satyagraha, the conscience of the oppressed person appeals to the conscience of the oppressor to see the truth rather than forcing him to accept the truth. So, according to Gandhiji, students, apparently nothing seems to be happening. That is, the oppressed people are sitting quietly on protest, but the conscience of both oppressor and oppressed people are interacting here. So Satyagraha is method of mass agitation. It persuades the opponent to understand the truth. It convinces the oppressor to understand the truth that we are doing something wrong or injustice to the oppressed people, that we are suppressing them, we are repressing them. This is not correct. This is not a proper thing. So here the oppressed person appeals to the conscience of oppressor to see the truth rather than forcing him to accept the truth. So further, students, according to Gandhiji, if the cause was true and if the fight was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. So this is very true, that if we are fighting against the injustice, then no physical force is required to fight the oppressor. If we are right, then the oppressor should accept that they are guilty, they are doing wrong with the innocent people. So here, hunger strike, the peaceful demonstrations were done, strike, hartal, non-cooperation with the government are some of the methods of the Satyagraha. So these methods were adopted by the Gandhiji in order to protest against the Britishers. Hunger strikes, peaceful demonstrations were done. Then after that, strike, rallies, hartal, non-cooperation movement was launched. So these were some of the methods of Satyagraha which were adopted by the Gandhiji when he came to the Indian national freedom struggle movement in 1915. So students, I told you that Satyagraha is method of mass agitation. Now let's see where Satyagraha was launched by Gandhiji, that is the places where it was introduced. So first 3 Satyagraha movements organized by Gandhiji in India. Here the year is very important, so let's see the first one. So first one is Champaran Satyagraha 1916. So this is your first one, that is Champaran Satyagraha or Champaran movement 1916. So year is very important. In MCQ or in 1 mark they can ask you. So please underline this. Champaran movement or Champaran Satyagraha. Champaran is in Bihar. So it was organized in Champaran 1916. So here it was the movement. Okay, so it was a movement of workers in indigo plantations of the Champaran district of Bihar. So this movement was launched there, and here it was first Champaran Satyagraha 1916. It was the movement of workers in the indigo plantations of the Champaran district of Bihar. So it was against the oppressive plantation system. So students, keep in mind the year of Champaran Satyagraha, that is the 1916, and Champaran is located in Bihar, and in map work it can be asked. So please keep this in mind, the year and the first experiment of Gandhiji regarding Satyagraha, Champaran Satyagraha. So the second Satyagraha, students, Kheda Satyagraha of 1917. Here is very important. Kheda Satyagraha of 1917, and Kheda is in Gujarat. So here, why the Satyagraha was launched by Gandhiji? What was happening there? The crop failure and the plague epidemic. Okay, so disease was separate. Okay, so there was a disease that affected the large number of people, and the crop failure was also there. So it made the life of farmers very miserable in the Kheda district of Gujarat. So they started a movement under the leadership of Gandhiji for the reduction in the land revenue. So for this demand, under the leadership of Gandhiji, they started this Kheda Satyagraha. So again I am repeating, Kheda Satyagraha in 1917. Crop failure and the plague epidemic made the life of the farmers very much miserable, and they started a movement under the Gandhiji leadership with the demand. So what was the demand? Reduction in the land revenue. So this was genuine demand. When they are not having any money, harvest is not there, disease is being spread, so suffering is there throughout, then how they will pay the land revenue? So the third experiment was the Satyagraha, Ahmedabad Satyagraha, the mill workers Satyagraha or mill workers movement, 1918. So why it was done? Because of the low wages and the poor working condition forced the mill workers of Ahmedabad to start a movement under the leadership of Gandhiji in 1918. So the low wages, okay, they were the employers, they were giving the low wages to the workers, poor working conditions were there for the mill workers. So they started a movement under Gandhiji leadership in 1918 in Ahmedabad. So again the Ahmedabad is in Gujarat. So the three experiments of the Satyagraha, very important 3-mark question. They can ask you define Satyagraha, then they can ask you the three experiments of the Satyagraha. So you should know the place and the year also, like the Champaran Satyagraha, okay, 1916 is the year, and Champaran is in Bihar. Then second, 1917 Kheda Satyagraha, and Kheda is in Gujarat. And third one is your Ahmedabad Satyagraha 1918, and Ahmedabad again is in Gujarat. So earlier we discussed the three experiments which the Gandhiji did and launched the three Satyagraha movements at different places like Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad. So now successfully, very with high confidence, Gandhiji was launching this movement, and now Britishers will also not sit quiet, so they introduced the Rowlatt Act. So now what was Rowlatt Act? So this act gave the government the powers to imprison any person without any trial for the period of 2 years. So this act gave the enormous power to the British government to imprison any person without any trial for the period of 2 years. It gave British government the powers to repress all the political activity. So the aim of this act was to destroy the national movement by imprisoning the national workers. So whosoever national workers, political workers were there who were getting attached with the freedom struggle, so to destroy the sentiments of these kind of people, to destroy the national movement by imprisoning these political workers or the national worker. So the aim of this act was to destroy the national movement by imprisoning the national workers. So it was a black law because it was against the basic human rights. So it was indeed a black law which was against the basic human rights. And Rowlatt Act was hurriedly passed by the British government in response to Gandhiji's idea of Satyagraha. So I told you earlier also that successfully Gandhiji was launching the Satyagraha movement, and people were following him, people were being joined him for these kind of movements, and his fan following or his the followers were increasing day by day, and people were being associated with these kind of movements in large number. So you can say this terrified the British government, and they have to stop these kind of activities. So they hurriedly passed this Rowlatt Act in 1919 to stop all kind of activity, to destroy the national movement by imprisoning the people, the Satyagrahis who were being involved in these kind of movements. So, against the unjust black law, students, Gandhiji organized a non-violent satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act in 1919. Please keep in mind the year 1919. So, Gandhiji organized a non-violent satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act. So, for this, a hartal was organized. Rallies were being conducted, shops were closed down, workers conducted the strike, transport and communication system they came to a halt or standstill. So all these were the repercussions of what the Britishers have imposed on the Indians through Rowlatt Act 1919, and as a result, Gandhiji organized a Rowlatt Satyagraha. Hartal was organized, rallies were conducted, shops were closed down, workers conducted the strikes, transport and communication system they came to the halt or they came to a standstill, and these all protests led to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So we will see what happened in Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and this is also very important topic, and note can be asked on Jallianwala Bagh incident. And similarly, the question can be also on Rowlatt Act also, and I have told you the Satyagraha also is very important topic, and on that also the 3-mark question can be asked or MCQs can be asked on Satyagraha Rowlatt Act. So till now, students, we have discussed the meaning of nationalism. Then we have defined nationalism. Then we have seen what implications the First World War had on the Indians' freedom struggle. After that, we discussed Gandhiji came to the Indian national movement scene in 1915. He introduced the novel method of mass agitation, that is Satyagraha. Then we have seen the 3 experiments he did with the Satyagraha, or the places where he launched the Satyagraha movement: Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad. After that, we have seen that Britishers will not, they did not sit quiet due to all the political activity. The political activity was, the national freedom struggle was getting momentum due to the Gandhiji's efforts, and they will not, this frightened the Britishers, and they launched the Rowlatt Act 1919, and Gandhiji said that this is a black law and against it, and this was against the basic human rights. So Gandhiji launched the non-violent satyagraha against the Rowlatt Act also in 1919, and we have seen hartal, rallies, all these things were being organized, and all this led to the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Now this is very important topic, and the note can be asked on the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Okay, very important it is. So on 13th April, the infamous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. So please, you should be very careful for the date, 13th April 1919. So a public meeting was organized at Jallianwala Bagh in Amritsar to protest against the arrest of the national leaders. So in order to stop the political activity or the freedom struggle, I have told you earlier also that they were arresting the political workers or the national worker to suppress the Indian national movement. So people were gathered in the enclosed grounds of Jallianwala Bagh to celebrate the Baisakhi. Okay, they came there. Some were there to protest against the martial law also. Okay, martial law was imposed by the Britishers. So being villagers, they were unaware of this martial law that had been imposed there. General Dyer, he entered into the park, he blocked the exit, and he ordered his troops to open the fire. So I have told you earlier also that many villagers who came to attend the fair were also present in the park, and then General Dyer, he entered into the park, he blocked the exit and ordered his troops to open the fire. So we were discussing Jallianwala Bagh massacre, and on 13th April the infamous Jallianwala Bagh incident took place. So the General Dyer, he reached the meeting place along with his British troops. He ordered the troops to fire, and the firing lasted for nearly 10 minutes. So here the General Dyer, he entered into the park, he blocked the exit, and he ordered his troops to open the fire. So many thousands of the people were killed, many were wounded, and this incident is called the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. So many people, they got killed, injured and wounded, and later the Dyer remark was that it was all to produce the terror among the Indians. So this was the massacre, because of which the widespread hatred or widespread anger was there in the mind of the Indians against the Britishers, and this was the injustice which is being done with the people of Punjab. So all were very unhappy because of all these things which is being, all the cruelties which is being done with the Indians. And the Jallianwala Bagh massacre is the injustice which is done to the Punjab, and it made all the Indians throughout the country very angry. So now let's see the Khilafat movement. So now let's talk about Khilafat movement. So Turkey, Turkey was under Ottoman Empire, and the ruler of Turkey was called Caliph or Khalifa. Okay, Caliph or Khalifa. So he was the Muslim spiritual leader of all the Muslim around the world. Britain defeated Turkey in First World War, that is the Ottoman Empire, and then Britain dethroned the existing Khalifa and appointed a new puppet Khalifa in his place. So it caused the widespread anger among the Muslims all around the world. In India also, Muslims started protesting against the British, and they formed the Khilafat Committee under the leadership of Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali. So these names are very important, that is Muhammad Ali and Shaukat Ali. So who formed this Khilafat Committee? It was formed under the leadership of Shaukat Ali and Muhammad Ali. Now Gandhiji saw this as a golden opportunity to bring all the Muslims under the unified umbrella of the struggle against the British. So Gandhiji convinced all the Congress leaders to support the Khilafat movement in support of the Swaraj. So the aim of this Khilafat movement was to protest against the injustice which is being done in Turkey by the Britain after the First World War. So that's why the sentiments of the Indian Muslims and of the Muslim throughout the world were being hurt. Okay, so they were hurt, their sentiments were hurt, their religious sentiments were hurt. So that's why they were against the Britisher. So the Turkish Sultan had the title of Caliph or Khalifa, and the Muslim considered him as the spiritual leader or the highest religious leader. So many Muslims joined this movement because the Britishers, they have done injustice to their religious leader also. So their sentiments were hurt, and they joined Gandhiji. And Gandhiji have also seen this as a golden opportunity to bring all the Muslims under the unified umbrella of the mass struggle, because it was believed by the Gandhiji that in order to overthrow the Britishers out of India, the unified mass struggle is required. One section of the society and one group cannot do this alone. So all together we have to launch a struggle, and mass movement is required now. So that's why they have seen the golden opportunity to bring the Muslims also together. So this was the Khilafat movement, and later on we will see that Gandhiji will launch non-cooperation Khilafat movement, and Gandhiji convinced all the Congress leaders that you have to support the Khilafat movement. If we want to attain the Swaraj, you have to support this Khilafat movement also. So earlier we have seen the Khilafat movement, that now the religious sentiments of Muslims were also hurt, and they also joined Gandhiji. So now Gandhiji believed that British rule in India was because of the Indians supporting the British rule, and the day Indians stop supporting British, the British rule will collapse and Swaraj will come. So Gandhiji now decided to launch the non-cooperation movement. Okay, so Gandhiji here, now he decided to launch the non-cooperation movement. So now, because what were the factors why he took this decision? First, the First World War added to the misery. Okay, so it added to the misery of the Indian people. Why? Earlier also we have discussed this thing, that heavy taxes the Britishers were imposing on us, high prices, inflation was very high, famines were there. Okay, scarcity of foods was there, food grain was not sufficient, epidemics, there was the spread of diseases. So this made the life of the Indian people, all these factors made the life of the Indian people miserable. Then after this we have seen the Rowlatt Act also. Okay, it invited the large scale protests throughout the country. So people were not happy with the Britishers because all these things were happening. Okay, whatever Britishers were doing, exploiting, humiliating the Indians, heavy taxes they were charging, high prices they were charging. Then also the scarcity of food grain was there, diseases being spread, so suffering for the Indian people, hardship. Then after that they were imposing the harsh act, the black act, the black laws like the Rowlatt Act. So continuing, we were discussing that why Gandhiji decided to launch the non-cooperation movement. So we have seen the First World War, it added to the misery. Then Rowlatt Act was there. After that, the Jallianwala Bagh massacre. Okay, so this also the Jallianwala Bagh massacre and the injustice which is being done to the Punjab people, it also made the Indians angry. So this was another cause. Then after that, we have discussed the Muslims. They also became unhappy due to the ill treatment which the Britishers they have done in Turkey with their Caliph or Khalifa, and they also started the Khilafat movement. So because of all these things and the Congress session, so because of all these factors, because of all these reasons, at the Calcutta session of the Congress in 1920, Gandhiji convinced other leaders of the need to start a non-cooperation movement in support of Khilafat as well as for the Swaraj. So please keep this in mind. This Calcutta session was in September 1920, and the Nagpur session, it was in December 1920. And the Calcutta session in September 1920, Gandhiji convinced the other leaders of Congress to join hands with the Khilafat movement and start a non-cooperation campaign for Swaraj. And at the Congress session at Nagpur in December 1920, the non-cooperation program was adopted.